My friends, too many of us live our lives diffused, distracted, scattered in 1,000 directions. We worry about what others are doing. We compare ourselves endlessly. We seek validation in the shifting sands of public opinion. But the truth is this: victory, flourishing, wholeness, it begins when you learn to focus on you. Now, I don't mean a selfish, narcissistic obsession with your own ego. I mean the deep, disciplined, prayerful attention to the person you are called to become. Each of us has been entrusted with gifts, talents, and a mission. To squander that by watching everyone else run their race is to betray your own. Focus on you until you win means turning inward to strengthen your character, to discipline your mind, to form your soul. It means refusing to be distracted by the noise around you and instead listening for the still, small voice within that says, "Keep going, keep building, keep becoming." Victory here isn't just worldly success. It is becoming who you are meant to be: resilient, courageous, virtuous, and free. The winning is not over others. It is over fear, over despair, over laziness, over the temptation to quit. So I urge you, stop dissipating your energy in envy and comparison. Pour your whole heart into the project of becoming the best and truest version of yourself. When you do, the victories will follow. Distraction is the enemy. It robs us of our time, our energy, our peace of mind. Think of how often the mind drifts away from its true work and becomes entangled in the affairs of others. We scroll through endless images of people's lives, compare their successes to our struggles, measure our worth against their accomplishments, and in doing so, we lose sight of our own race. This endless comparison is a thief. It steals the joy of your own progress. It blinds you to the quiet victories you achieve each day. It convinces you that you are behind, when in fact you are exactly where you are meant to be if only you stayed faithful to your own path. The tragedy of distraction is not only that it wastes time, but that it fractures the soul. You cannot give your best when your attention is scattered. You cannot rise to your calling while you are busy chasing someone else's shadow. The one who wins is not the one who watches everyone else run. The one who wins is the one who fixes their eyes on the lane before them, step by step, with focus, with perseverance, with trust. Think of a runner in a race. The moment he turns his head to see who is beside him, he slows down. His stride is broken, his rhythm disturbed, his confidence shaken. So it is with life. When your eyes are fixed on what others are doing, your own momentum falters. You lose the fire that comes from knowing your purpose. You lose the clarity that comes from pursuing your mission. Distraction is subtle. It whispers to you that you are missing out. It makes you believe that everyone else is ahead. But the truth is this: the more you chase after someone else's light, the dimmer your own flame becomes. And here is the great paradox: the world does not need a copy of someone else. It needs the authentic fire of who you are. When you are distracted, that fire is smothered. When you focus, it burns bright. Focus is freedom. It frees you from the tyranny of comparison. It releases you from the endless cycle of envy and insecurity. It allows you to put all your strength, all your creativity, all your heart into the task that was given uniquely to you. Do not waste your days measuring yourself against people who were never meant to walk your path. Their journey is theirs, yours is yours, and the measure of your success is not whether you outpace them. It is whether you become faithful to the person you are meant to be. Distraction is the enemy because it convinces you to fight battles that were never yours to fight. It makes you carry burdens that were never meant for your shoulders. It tempts you into wars of comparison where nobody truly wins. But when you resist distraction, when you return to your focus, you discover something extraordinary. You find peace in your own progress, you find strength in your own journey, and you find joy not in being better than others, but in becoming the best version of yourself. That, my friends, is the victory. Focus is formation. To focus on yourself is not to indulge in selfishness. It is to undertake the sacred work of shaping your character, your mind, and your soul. Formation is never accidental. No one stumbles into greatness by accident. No one becomes wise, disciplined, or courageous without intention. It is focus that molds us, the deliberate attention to who we are and who we are becoming. Think of a sculptor with a block of marble. If his eyes wander, if his hands are careless, the form will never emerge. But with steady focus, patient strokes, and vision fixed on what is hidden within the stone, beauty begins to take shape. So it is with your life. Without focus, your gifts remain buried. Your character lies unformed, like uncut stone. But when you fix your attention on the task of becoming, when you pour yourself into the chiseling and refining of your inner life, the true image begins to shine forth. To focus on yourself means to take responsibility for your growth. It means examining your thoughts, because thoughts give birth to actions. It means disciplining your habits, because habits become your character. It means tending your soul, because the soul shapes the direction of your entire life. Formation is not glamorous work. It is quiet. It is unseen. It happens in the hours when nobody is watching, when nobody is praising, when nobody is clapping. But those unseen hours are where strength is forged. They are the furnace where discipline, courage, and virtue take root. The person who refuses to focus, who drifts through life without intention, is like a ship without a rudder. Tossed by every wave, driven by every wind, they go wherever circumstances take them. But the one who chooses focus becomes steady. They chart their course. They direct their energy. They form themselves into someone capable of withstanding storms and reaching the shore. To focus on yourself is also to confront the hard truths. It is to acknowledge your weaknesses and not run from them. It is to face your wounds and allow them to be healed. It is to recognize your potential and take responsibility for developing it. This is why focus is demanding. It requires honesty. It requires discipline. It requires patience, because true formation does not happen in a moment. It unfolds over years, over decades, like a tree slowly growing strong roots beneath the soil. Focus is not just about effort, it is also about direction. You can work tirelessly and still remain unformed if your energy is scattered. But when your focus is aligned with your deeper purpose, every action, every thought, every choice becomes part of the shaping process. You become intentional about the books you read, the voices you listen to, the company you keep. You guard your heart, because you know your heart is the wellspring of your life. You discipline your mind, because you know your mind shapes your perception of reality. You nurture your soul, because you know your soul anchors you in meaning beyond the noise of the world. Formation through focus is not about perfection. It is about direction. It is about becoming more aligned each day with the higher calling within you. The sculptor does not reveal the finished masterpiece in one stroke. He chips away patiently, steadily, persistently. So must you. Focus until the rough edges are smoothed. Focus until the inner strength is visible. Focus until your true self, shaped in character, mind, and soul, stands revealed. Your race is unique. You cannot run another's race. You must run your own. Life is not a single track where all of us compete for the same finish line. It is a vast field with countless paths, each designed for a specific soul, each shaped by a particular calling. The moment you try to step into someone else's lane, you lose the rhythm of your own. The stride that was meant for you falters. The pace that was designed for your journey breaks apart. And in the end, you discover that no matter how hard you try, you cannot win by imitating another. Your race is written into the very fabric of your being. Your experiences, your struggles, your talents, your wounds, and your victories have shaped a path that is unlike anyone else's. To ignore that path is to betray the gift of your existence. Think of a musician trying to paint or a painter trying to sing simply because someone else is celebrated in that craft. It may be possible to imitate, but it will never carry the same fire, the same authenticity, as when they lean into their true gift. So it is with you. You are not designed to copy. You are designed to create, to express, to live fully in the lane that belongs to you. There is freedom when you embrace this truth. You no longer feel the pressure of keeping up with others. You no longer waste your energy in endless comparison. You are released to pour everything into your own purpose, to run your race with all your heart. This is not to say the race will be easy. Your lane may include steep climbs, sharp turns, even stretches of loneliness where no one seems to understand what you are running toward. But those trials belong to your formation. They are shaping you in a way that no one else's race could. If you were to abandon your track for another's, you would also abandon the lessons that were meant to make you strong. And what good would it do to succeed in a path that was never yours? What joy is there in winning a crown that was meant for someone else? True victory comes not from finishing first, but from finishing faithful. Faithful to the course marked out for you. Faithful to the gifts entrusted to you. Faithful to the voice within that whispers, "This is the way, walk in it." Your race is not measured by the applause of the crowd. It is measured by your obedience to the calling placed in your heart. Others may misunderstand it. Others may mock it. Others may even try to persuade you to abandon it, but only you can carry it through. And when you do, when you run with focus and endurance, you discover a joy that comparison can never give. You discover the deep satisfaction of knowing that you have lived your life, not a borrowed version of someone else's. Each step on your track matters, every mile shapes you, every breath draws you closer to the finish that was prepared for you alone. So do not be distracted by the pace of others. Do not be discouraged if their journey looks smoother or their progress faster. Their path is theirs, yours is yours, and the beauty of life is that each unique race, faithfully run, adds its own irreplaceable music to the great symphony of creation. Self-mastery precedes victory. Winning begins with discipline over thoughts, habits, and desires. Before you can overcome the obstacles outside of you, you must first overcome the ones within. The greatest battles are not fought on public stages, but in the quiet chambers of the mind and heart. It is there, in the secret places of thought and desire, that your destiny is shaped. If your mind is scattered, if your habits are weak, if your desires control you, then no matter what victories you achieve outwardly, they will be fragile, temporary, easily lost. But if you master yourself, if you learn to govern your thoughts, to discipline your actions, and to direct your desires toward what is higher, then you carry a strength that no external challenge can take away. The mind is the first battlefield. Every choice begins as a thought. If you allow negative, destructive, or small-minded thoughts to dominate, you will live in their shadow. But if you train your mind to dwell on what is noble, what is true, what is purposeful, then your life will reflect that nobility. To master your thoughts is to choose what voices you allow to stay. It is to catch the whispers of doubt and replace them with words of courage. It is to silence the chatter of fear and awaken the conviction of hope. Your habits are the second arena. What you do repeatedly shapes who you become. Small actions repeated day after day carve the grooves of your character. If your habits are lazy, undisciplined, or careless, your life will bear the weight of that neglect. But if your habits are steady, disciplined, and intentional, your life will carry the fruit of strength. Great victories are not won in a single moment of glory, but in the thousands of small, hidden choices that prepare you for that moment. To master your habits is to set the rhythm of your days in alignment with your goals. It is to make excellence routine. It is to choose consistency over convenience. Desires are the third field of battle. Every human heart is full of longings, some noble, some selfish, some destructive. If left unchecked, desire can enslave you, pulling you into addictions, distractions, and endless cravings that never satisfy. But when desire is purified, when it is directed toward truth, love, and purpose, it becomes a fire that fuels greatness. To master your desires is not to kill them, but to order them. It is to place the higher above the lower, the lasting above the fleeting, the eternal above the temporary. When your desires are mastered, you are no longer dragged by impulse. You become guided by vision. You no longer chase every passing pleasure. You pursue what truly fulfills. This is why self-mastery comes before victory. A person who cannot master themselves cannot lead, cannot endure, cannot achieve a lasting triumph. But the one who has disciplined mind, body, and soul carries within them a power that cannot be shaken. Even in the face of defeat, they rise again. Even in the midst of trials, they remain steady. Their victory is not only in what they achieve outwardly, but in who they have become inwardly. For the ultimate conquest is not over an enemy, but over the self. When you master your thoughts, your habits, and your desires, you stand free, and from that freedom flows every true and lasting victory. Noise vs. voice. Block out the world's noise to hear the inner call of your higher purpose. We live in an age of endless noise. Everywhere you turn, voices are shouting for your attention. Advertisements tell you who you should be. Social media bombards you with images of what you are missing. Opinions flood your ears from strangers, critics, and even those close to you. And in the midst of this storm of noise, the still, quiet voice within you is drowned out. That voice is gentle. It does not demand. It does not shout. It whispers truth. It stirs longing. It points you toward the path of your higher purpose. But to hear it, you must choose to block out the noise. Noise confuses. It scatters your attention. It fills your heart with doubt, fear, and comparison. Noise makes you feel as though you are always behind, always lacking, always chasing something just beyond your reach. But the voice within is different. The voice speaks not of lack but of possibility. It reminds you of who you are and who you are meant to become. It calls you to a life of meaning, not mere distraction. The tragedy is that many never hear it because they are too consumed with the constant clamor of the world. They fill every silence with noise, and in doing so, they lose touch with themselves. To block out the noise does not mean withdrawing from the world. It means creating space for clarity. It means silencing the voices that do not serve your purpose and opening your heart to the one that does. This may mean stepping away from the endless scrolling. It may mean saying no to the opinions of those who do not understand your calling. It may mean cultivating silence in prayer, in reflection, in solitude, because it is in silence that the voice becomes clear. Think of a musician tuning an instrument in a crowded room. At first, the sound is lost in the chaos. But when the room grows quiet, the true pitch is heard, and harmony is possible. So it is with your soul. The noise of the world drowns you, but when you seek stillness, the voice of your higher purpose comes alive, clear and strong. The voice is not always easy to follow. It often leads you against the current, away from the crowd, into places where courage is required. But it is always the path of truth. Noise will tell you to settle for comfort. Voice will call you to greatness. Noise will tell you to imitate. Voice will urge you to create. Noise will distract you with what is temporary. Voice will anchor you in what is eternal. And this is why you must learn to discern. Not every voice is yours to follow. Not every sound deserves your attention. Your life is too precious to be shaped by noise. You must listen for the voice that speaks to the deepest part of you. And once you hear it, once you recognize its tone, you must hold to it even when the world grows louder, because the world will always be noisy, but the inner call of your higher purpose will always be stronger if you are willing to listen. Winning is not over others. True victory is triumph over fear, despair, laziness, and quitting. So often we imagine success as standing above someone else. We picture life as a competition where there can only be one champion, one person who takes the prize while the rest are left behind. But this is a shallow view of victory. Life's deepest battles are not fought against other people. They are fought against the forces inside us that try to hold us back. Fear is one of the first enemies you must face. Fear whispers that you are not good enough. Fear paints images of failure before you have even begun. Fear convinces you to stay small, to stay safe, to stay hidden, rather than risk the possibility of falling. To triumph over fear is not to eliminate it completely, but to walk forward in spite of it. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision that fear will not be the master of your destiny. Despair is another opponent. It comes when life grows heavy, when disappointments pile up, when doors close and you wonder if it is worth trying again. Despair says, "Why bother? You will never make it." But victory over despair is the refusal to surrender hope. It is the stubborn choice to believe that tomorrow can still bring light, that the story is not yet finished, that there is more in you than the moment of pain you are living through. Laziness is a quieter enemy, but just as dangerous. It creeps in slowly, tempting you with comfort, persuading you to delay, convincing you that discipline can wait until tomorrow. And day by day, laziness steals your strength, your potential, your opportunities. But victory comes when you train yourself to rise, to act, to move even when you do not feel like it. It comes when you build discipline strong enough to carry you through the days when motivation is absent. And then there is quitting, the final and most decisive enemy. Quitting tells you that the struggle is too long, the effort too hard, the journey too uncertain. It tempts you to walk away just before the breakthrough, just before the harvest, just before the victory was about to appear. But triumph comes when you choose perseverance, when you hold on through the storm, when you refuse to let go even when everything in you wants to stop. That is where the deepest victory lies, for winning is not measured by beating others. It is measured by overcoming the enemies that no one else can see, the fear within, the despair within, the laziness within, the temptation to quit within. Each time you rise above these forces, you win. Each time you choose faith over fear, hope over despair, discipline over laziness, and endurance over quitting, you win. And these victories matter far more than the trophies, the applause, or the comparisons to others. Because those outer victories fade, but the strength you build by conquering your inner battles stays with you forever. It becomes part of who you are. It becomes the foundation of your character. And it becomes the proof that true winning has nothing to do with being above someone else, and everything to do with becoming greater than the obstacles inside yourself. Invest in your gifts. You were entrusted with talents that must be cultivated, not buried. Every person carries within them seeds of greatness, seeds of possibility, seeds of contribution that the world desperately needs. These gifts are not accidents. They were placed in you with purpose. Some are obvious, shining brightly from a young age. Others lie hidden, waiting to be discovered, uncovered, and developed through effort and persistence. But whether visible or hidden, they are there. The tragedy is not that people lack gifts. The tragedy is that too many bury them. They bury them under fear, telling themselves they are not capable. They bury them under excuses, waiting for the perfect moment that never comes. They bury them under distraction, chasing after what others have instead of nurturing what is already in their hands. To bury your gift is to waste a trust that was given uniquely to you. But to invest in your gift is to honor the one who entrusted it to you, and to bless the lives of others who will be touched by it. Investment always requires sacrifice. You cannot grow in your gift without effort, without discipline, without choosing to practice when you would rather rest, to study when you would rather drift, to train when you would rather quit. Growth requires patience, because gifts are not perfected overnight. They are sharpened through years of dedication. through trial and error, through failure and persistence. Think of a musician who trains for hours each day, refining skill until the instrument becomes an extension of their soul. Think of an athlete who rises before dawn to strengthen body and mind, pushing beyond limits to reach new levels of mastery. Think of a teacher, a leader, a craftsman, an artist, who pours themselves into their work until their gift becomes not only skill but wisdom. That is investment. It is saying, I will not waste what I have been given, I will multiply it. Your gift is not just for you, it was entrusted to you for the good of others. When you invest in it, you do not simply build your own future, you enrich the lives of those around you. Your song inspires, your wisdom guides, your strength uplifts, your creativity awakens something in the hearts of others, and this is why the world suffers when gifts are buried. It loses the light that was meant to shine through you. It loses the impact that only your talent could bring. So do not bury what you have been given. Do not dismiss it as small, unimportant, or ordinary. Even the smallest gift, when nurtured, can grow into something extraordinary. Even the quietest talent, when developed, can echo loudly in the lives of many. To invest in your gift is to trust that it matters. It is to believe that your contribution, however humble it may seem, has value. And it is to step into the responsibility of stewardship, caring for what you have so it may reach its fullest potential. Every hour of practice, every moment of discipline, every decision to keep going when others stop, that is the work of investment. And over time, that investment compounds, your gift grows stronger, your impact grows wider, and your life grows deeper, because you lived not burying what was entrusted to you, but multiplying it. Resilience is essential. The path to victory requires enduring trials without surrender. No great achievement has ever been born without resistance. No lasting triumph has ever been reached without walking through hardship. Life will test you. It will push against you. It will throw storms into your path, storms that seem strong enough to break you. But it is in those storms that resilience is forged. Resilience is the inner strength that refuses to bend when the weight grows heavy. It is the steady spirit that says, I may be pressed down, but I will not be destroyed. I may stumble, but I will rise again. Without resilience, even the most gifted will falter, because talent can open doors, but only endurance keeps you walking through them. Dreams can inspire you at the beginning, but only resilience carries you to the end. Resilience is not simply enduring pain. It is choosing to keep moving forward with hope in the midst of pain. It is the ability to hold your course when the road grows long and the reward seems distant. It is the refusal to surrender to despair, even when the evidence tells you that quitting would be easier. Every trial you face is not meant to destroy you, but to shape you. Each challenge becomes a furnace where your strength is refined. When you endure, you discover that you are stronger than you thought, braver than you believed, and more capable than you imagined. Resilience transforms suffering into wisdom. It turns failure into a lesson, weakness into strength, and obstacles into stepping stones. The person who learns resilience becomes unshakable. They may face loss, disappointment, or rejection, but they are not defined by it. They rise again, and each time they rise higher. Resilience is not something you are born with. It is something you cultivate. It is built through the daily decision not to surrender. It grows when you choose perseverance over comfort, faith over fear, discipline over despair. Think of the tree that stands tall in the storm. The wind bends it, the rain beats upon it, but its roots run deep, and because its roots are anchored, it endures. So it is with you. Your roots must go deep into conviction, into purpose, into the certainty that your life has meaning beyond the trial you face. When you are anchored, you can withstand what others cannot. You can face what others flee from. You can carry on when others collapse. The path to victory is not smooth. It is filled with obstacles, with seasons of waiting, with moments where quitting seems easier than continuing. But resilience whispers, stay the course, keep moving. The story is not finished yet. And those who listen to that whisper, those who choose not to surrender, discover that resilience itself becomes the victory. Because the true triumph is not simply reaching the goal, but becoming the kind of person who cannot be defeated along the way. Resilience ensures that no matter how many times you are struck down, you will always rise again. And it is that rising again and again that carries you to the crown of victory. Focus brings clarity. When you stop scattering attention, you see the way forward more clearly. The mind is like light. When it is diffused, it illuminates little, but when it is concentrated, like a beam through a lens, it has the power to cut through steel. So it is with your life. Scattered attention leaves you drifting, exhausted by constant motion, yet accomplishing little. But focused attention brings clarity, direction, and power. Too often, we try to do everything at once. We say yes to too many demands. We chase after every opportunity, every distraction, every voice that promises success. And in the process, we dilute our energy, weaken our progress, and lose sight of where we were truly meant to go. But when you focus, you begin to see. The path that once seemed clouded becomes clear. The noise of confusion quiets, and the essential steps stand out before you. Clarity is not about knowing the whole journey. It is about seeing the next step with certainty, and that comes only through focus. Imagine a traveler wandering in the fog. If their eyes dart in every direction, they stumble, unsure of where to move. But if they focus their gaze, they notice the faint outline of the path ahead. One step at a time, the way opens. So it is in life. Clarity does not arrive in chaos, it is born of focus. When you discipline your attention, you gain the ability to distinguish between what matters and what does not. You see which tasks are essential and which are distractions. You recognize which relationships strengthen your purpose and which drain your spirit. You learn to separate the urgent from the truly important, and in that separation, clarity is born. Focus is an act of courage. Because it means saying no, no to distractions, no to the endless noise of comparison, no to the temptation to please everyone and do everything. It is the courage to say, this is my lane, this is my calling, this is where my energy belongs. And when you do, your vision sharpens. You are no longer running in circles, you are moving forward with purpose. The mind, when focused, also grows calm. Anxieties begin to fade because much of anxiety comes from scattering yourself in too many directions. But when you bring your energy to one thing, peace enters. Clarity is not frantic, it is steady. It allows you to act with confidence instead of hesitation. It enables you to choose wisely instead of impulsively. It empowers you to walk firmly instead of stumbling through uncertainty. Focus brings clarity not only in goals but in identity. When you give attention to what truly matters, you begin to see who you are. You uncover your strengths, your passions, your true calling. You discover that your life was never meant to be 1,000 scattered fragments, but a single, unified story, and clarity makes that story visible. When your focus sharpens, the path ahead shines brighter. When you stop scattering your attention, the fog begins to lift, and what once seemed impossible suddenly becomes possible because you can finally see the way forward. Your best self is the win. The ultimate victory is to become the fullest, truest version of who you are meant to be. Too often, we measure winning by trophies, by applause, by comparison with others. We believe victory is about being bigger, faster, richer, or more admired. But those measures fade, the applause grows quiet, the trophies gather dust, the titles and positions pass to someone else. And if that is all you were chasing, then when it fades, you are left empty. But true victory is different. True victory is not about what you gain, but about who you become. It is about living into the deepest call of your life. It is about unfolding into the person you were created to be, fully, authentically, without fear, without compromise. Your best self is not defined by comparison. It is not shaped by the opinions of others. It is the version of you that lives aligned with your gifts, your values, your convictions, and your higher calling. It is the you who refuses to live small, the you who chooses integrity over shortcuts, the you who gives your all to the work set before you. To reach your best self is the ultimate triumph. It means you have risen above fear. It means you have not surrendered to despair. It means you have silenced the voices that tried to tell you who you could not be, and you have listened instead to the voice that calls you higher. Becoming your best self is not easy. It requires growth, discipline, resilience, and sacrifice. It demands that you face your weaknesses honestly and allow them to be transformed. It asks you to let go of false identities, to shed the masks you wear for acceptance, and to step into your authentic truth. But every struggle along the way becomes part of the victory. Each time you refuse to settle for less than who you are meant to be, you win. Each time you choose growth over comfort, you win. Each time you rise again after falling, you win. And as you continue, you discover that winning has little to do with being above others, and everything to do with rising into yourself. The fullest version of you is the one who gives freely of your gifts. The truest version of you is the one who lives not in imitation, but in creation. The most victorious version of you is the one who finishes life knowing you did not bury what you were given. You did not silence your calling. You did not shrink back into fear. Your best self is the crown. Your best self is the prize. Your best self is the legacy that remains when the noise of the world has passed away. For the world does not remember those who merely compared themselves to others, but it is transformed by those who became fully alive, fully present, fully true to their calling. And that, my friends, is the ultimate victory. Not applause, not trophies, but becoming the truest, fullest version of the person you were always meant to be. Here's a powerful ending that ties everything together with rhythm and weight, while keeping the tone consistent with the rest of your speech. And so, my friends, the call is clear. Do not waste your life in distraction. Do not abandon your race for another's. Do not bury the gifts entrusted to you. Do not surrender when trials press against you. Instead, choose focus. Choose formation. Choose resilience. Choose to listen to the quiet voice that calls you higher. And above all, choose to become your best self, because that, and that alone, is the true victory. When you stand at the finish line of your life, it will not matter how many others you surpassed. It will matter only that you ran your race well, that you fought your battles faithfully, and that you became the person you were always meant to be. That is the win. That is the crown. That is the life worth living.